Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about the identity of mixed race people who are mixed with black and the online discussions that I see. Biracial people are usually the main topic of discussion of whether mixed people are black. Sometimes multi-generationally mixed people are included, and people who are 1/4 black and 1/8 black are also discussed. Growing up, I have a white mom and I have a black father. I don't think my father ever brought up race. My mom told me a few times it came up, she told me that I was black. And to me, honestly, I thought that it was weird because I had a whole white family, and now I know genetically I'm a slight majority European. And I guess some people think that I'm black, but I think I look like what I am, which is mixed, and I look a bit racially ambiguous. It felt like my European heritage was debased when I was told that I'm black or just black. It felt like a sense of resentment was instilled in me. I no longer feel that way now that I develop my own identity and I claim both sides of my racial makeup. When I was 18 and I moved out on my own, that's when I started to form my own identity and embrace being mixed race. Even though I never really accepted being black or felt that I was just black, I still kind of struggled with my identity, but it was helpful meeting other biracials and seeing how other people saw things. Some biracial people I met identify with being black and black culture, and some identify with being mixed or just go with the dominant culture. Then there are the people who are multi-generationally mixed, but the distinction is often not made for them whether they are mixed or black. They're often just considered black, even though they may technically have two mixed parents and they may have a similar mix to a biracial person. Presumably, the distinction is not made because there are no known white or non-black identifying people within their family, like parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. I looked at some studies which showed that most African Americans are mixed with about 10 to 20% white. For me personally, I think there is a difference between someone who has a white parent or a parent of a different race and a person who has two parents who identify as black or are multi-generationally mixed. But I don't see that much difference from myself than someone who is, say, 10 to 50% black, which African Americans generally are. I mean, we both have black in us, and we both have white in us. We're both technically biracial. Bi doesn't mean half and half, it just means two. So to me, yeah, I am black, but I'm also white. I relate to African Americans. We're both technically mixed and we have a similar genetic background. I don't call myself or consider myself just black. I'm biracial, what is just a fact of the matter. I consider myself a part of both cultures. I don't think it feels right for me to just acknowledge my black side. Some mixed people consider themselves black, and I don't have an issue with that if that's how they feel. I don't believe in the one drop rule. It's odd to me. But if people believe in that, I'm not going to think anything of it. So I've seen a push online lately for the separation of biracials from African Americans, and sometimes multi-generationally mixed people are included as well, which poses some queries to me. I mean, the problem with that is people can have a black phenotype whether they have one or two black parents, and seeing as African Americans are mixed themselves, they can have features that mixed and biracial people have. So if you're going to be using that as an indication of who's black, you're going to be dividing yourselves over and over. Plus, someone can have more black ancestry and be lighter or have a looser hair texture than someone who has less black ancestry. So yeah, there can be a lot of overlap because genetics can be a wild card. I mean, it's not like you're an African, a pure African, saying you're not black. So it seems like some people are angry because certain mixed people are having issues with their identity or relating to black people. Normally, what I've seen is complaints that mixed women are put on a pedestal in the black community. They have features that are fetishized, that biracial women come to the black community to compete. I don't know how true that is. I mean, I guess it can be true for some people. I don't think the majority of people operate like that. It sounds kind of volatile. I don't think of other people to that extent. It just seems like a waste of energy. I think it's better to work with each other if you want to accomplish anything. Even when I've been in competitions, I don't think of it in terms of the other people. I just think of, getting my goal or winning, but I don't have any hard feelings or negative feelings toward the other contestants. I often see a focus on mixed women competing or something like that for black men. To me, that's giving too much attention and power to the validation of men. I personally don't get the concept of competing for a man. I just look to get with a man that I click with and we both like each other. If I'm competing for another woman, then, she can have him. If I'm not first choice or priority, then I don't look at that man as the one for me. I don't get why people always bring that up. If someone is self-hating and they only prefer someone because they're light-skinned and mixed, and obviously that person has some issues with themselves, and it would be difficult to be in a relationship with someone like that. So I don't understand why anyone would want to compete for someone like that unless they're just a broken person themselves and they have the same mentality. My thing is, why pay so much attention to what broken and insecure people are doing unless you're broken and insecure yourself? It seems like you internalize it because you agree with it. I don't understand why this issue focuses so much on mixed women instead of the black men who want to put certain women on a pedestal. I believe it's because we live in a misogynistic society and people are just feeding into that. The only mixed women I've come across that made anti-black comments were very ingratiated into black culture themselves. And it wasn't like they were trying to make themselves out to be better than black women. It was like they were trying to fit in with the culture. And that's the thing people don't pay attention to, is why black people themselves see mixed as better. The way people are viewing biracial people is unhealthy. It seems shallow and superficial. There's a lot of focus on them being preferred by someone who doesn't like themselves, instead of the thought process of many black people who view mixed as better than black. So yeah, these complaints, I guess you can say, against biracial people aren't anything that I've not seen black people do themselves, because it's coming from the black culture. So to me, it just looks like black people are complaining about a beauty standard that they created. Biracial people aren't really putting their phenotype on a pedestal over black people. Other black people are doing that. So you see, this topic always revolves around biracial people thinking they're better than black people or competing with black people, and mostly it has to do with the women, but I never see biracial people saying these things. None of that is the reason why I engaged with black people or the black community, I guess you could say. No, the reason is because I'm half black, half of my family is black, and I wanted to connect more and relate more to my black side. I'm not saying that there's not any truth to these things, but it just seems like it's a projection from black people, and they're amplifying something that doesn't have that strong of a presence. I just think that everyone should put themselves on a pedestal. I think it's just a natural thing to do. That doesn't mean you can't see other women's beauty or strength, or that you need to look down on them. I don't get the point in competing or comparing women. I mean, you're going to end up making someone feel bad. Genetics are something that you're born with and can't help. It doesn't make any sense to me to think that I'm better than black people just because I'm mixed. I mean, yeah, there is racism and white supremacy, and we can look into how that got there, but I mean, that's a whole other story. Mixed people didn't create that system, we just exist in it. I think that dark skin and afro hair is beautiful. I don't see anything wrong with being black, but it seems to me that many black people have an issue with it. Sometimes in these discussions, they ponder why biracial people don't take an issue with the white side of their family or with white people, and why it's just with their black side. And well, I have taken up issues with white people. If there is a problem that's affecting me, I'm not just gonna go hide in a corner. But I mean, if it's just some person that has an issue with me or some random person that made a racist comment, I'm not really going to care unless it's affecting my life or employment. For the most part, white people don't really take an issue with me or treat me any kind of way. If they do have an issue with me, they keep it hidden, to the point where I don't really care. I just stay out of their way and they stay out of mine. So with black people, we have, issues, we have discussions that are more out in the open. And a lot of this has to do with this idea that biracial people are black. I never accepted that, but it's something that is a part of the culture. It's taught in families, it's accepted by society, and black people often claim biracial people, even though I think they can see the difference. I can see why biracial people would be led to believe that they're black or accept that they're black. I don't really think it's their fault or that they're doing anything wrong by claiming they're black. They are black, but they're also white or whatever they're mixed with. White people generally don't go around claiming biracial people as white, even if they're very white passing. When they find out that they're mixed, they just look at them as mixed or whatever. I don't really think they care that much generally. But black people, other biracial people, society, they all push this idea that biracial people are black. So that's why a lot of biracial people have this identity crisis, because they're trying to fit in as something that they don't fit as. That's where this, I'm not black enough notion comes from, I think. Me personally, I never really had that problem. I never really tried to be accepted as black or white. I don't really care that much. I just accept myself as biracial, as what I am. People will go both ways and sometimes make it seem like being black is a curse that a mixed person is trying to get away from if they identify as mixed, and that they hate the black side of themselves and are trying to delude themselves. I've also seen it where mixed people were very adamant that they were black, or that they wish they were more Afrocentric. The way I see it is my race is something that I'm born with and I can't control. I'm happy being biracial. I'm happy with the mix of things that I am. I relate to both sides of my culture. I relate to white people and I relate to black people, which makes sense because I'm mixed. I accept what I am, which is biracial, and I think everyone should love themselves and what they are. Well, anyways, that's what I think of this topic. This debate is kind of just up in the air to me, but those are my thoughts. So, yep, that was it, and thank you for listening.